Hello my crafty friends, this is Michelle with the Southern Shell, and I am here with a craft for my Christmas in July series. We are going to make these cute little yarn Santas or gnomes, whatever you want to do with them. They are super cute, they're super easy to make. So I'm going to show you how to create these little guys. Now these will go in my craft fair, and they will only be about $1.50 a piece. So they are, because I'm using, yarns that I've had or people have given me. Honestly, these are stuff that I'm using from recycled or material that I have been given, or really inexpensive items that I've had on hand. So let me show you how we get started with these. I'm going to move these little lovely guys right on up here, and you can trim them so they're nice and short and fluffy, or you can leave them long, kind of like your old world style. But let me show you what we're going to do. So these are the hats, and let me show you how we're going to make these hats real quick. Now I used paper towel holder, old paper towel rings, so recycled items, and you take that and you're going to cut it about 1 to 1.5 inches, and you're just going to cut it straight across. And so I just went through and cut me several pieces of my cardboard roll. And so I have these cut and set aside and ready to roll. I'm going to push them back into shape. If you want something firmer, what I have used in the past is I've also used some of the leftover roll that my vinyl will come on, and that is super strong, so I have to use something stronger to cut that. But this is easy, light and easy to do. So what I have done is I've chose different colors of yarn to do these things, so that you can have your bright normal Christmas traditionals, and then something that's a little more old world. I'm going to do this one in this green yarn that I've had. I crocheted an Afghan with it several years ago. So this has been around for a while, and so I'm going to show you how to do this. Now I just used this notepad. This is just your typical, this is a 5x3 spiral notepad, and I just take it and I'm going to lay it across the top there, and I'm just going to wrap. And this is just going to give me several pieces that I can actually create this hat with. And we're just going to go. So that's nice and thick, and that'll give us some to get started with. So I'm going to use my scissors, and I'm just going to come down to the bottom here. Bring that back up so everything's going to be cut right at the same, and I'm just going to come right in and cut that off. Now the spiral notebook gives me some nice flexibility to just roll that on in. So once you have all that cut, you're just going to grab a strand and make sure it's folded in half. Going to loop it through your paper towel ring, and then you're going to pull in the bottom piece, and you're going to pull it right on over, and then make sure those are closed and together. So in half, through, and pull, and then make sure it's pushed over nice and tight. And that little crease there will go away once we get everything together, so let's not worry about that. I just want to make sure that these ends are pretty even when I pull it over to the bottom. My goodness, fiddly fingers. And I'm trying to pull it down so that I know that this little knotted area is going to be on the inside. And pull it on over, loop it through, pull it down nice and tight. So you're going to do that all the way around this ring, and then you're going to have something like this. Little hula skirt. Woo. All right, so I'm nice and tight. I can pull that around and I'm not seeing any of the paper towel roll underneath it. Scoot it on over if you need to. Add any more in there. You just want to make sure it's nice and snug. So once we have that done, we're going to take these pieces of yarn and we're going to pull them up through, we're going to tuck them on in and pull them up through the bottom. And it's going to come right out the top of where we've looped it through. Just push it on through. Pull those strands right on out. It's nice and thick. Now I have my little cupcake tin with all my goodies in it. There's my rings. And I have some little rubber bands here, some little of those small rubber bands. You can get these at the Dollar Tree, you can get them at Dollar General, you can get them at Walmart, just itty bitty. And I'm just going to take one and I'm going to pull this hat. I want to make sure this is as in there and straight as possible as you're looking at the bottom. And then I'm going to grab that and I'm going to put this little ponytail right around this hat. And this is going to make our little pom-pom right on the top there. And once I get that on there, that's going to give me a little base there. And now I'm going to take a long piece of my yarn and I'm going to tie it right around this hat. I'm doing this because if that little rubber band breaks, I want to make sure that there's something else holding here. And I want to get it nice and tight. So I wrap it around, bring it on up, and I tie it again. And then I tie it in a nice knot. Okay. Sure, all my little loops are up. There we go. Now, if you want to put your loop on here, this is where you're going to do it. You want to do it before everything's put together. And so what I want to do is I'm going to pull a needle. So I have this upholstery needle with some embroidery floss on there. And what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sew this through the edge a little bit on the inside of my hat. And I'm going to pull it over to the other side. I'm going to make sure that this is going to be nice and tight on there. So I'm going to take a little bit of my loop and I'm going to tie it into a little knot. And I want to make sure it's on the inside of the hat as best as possible. And then what I'm going to do is after I pull that nice and snug, this is now going to go right on up through the middle of my hat. Let me trim this first. Okay, it's ready to go on up through the middle of my hat. But we want to trim our little pom-pom first. I got ahead of myself. So I'm going to grab and I'm going to hold my fingers around it, and that's going to give me a base. I'm going to come right on up and I'm going to use the base of between my thumb and my forefinger to be my guide for my pom-pom. Rotate it right on around. And I'm going to fluff and then trim off any little stragglers. There's the little pom-pom on the top of my hat. take all of this out of the way. Now my little needle can come right on up through the bottom of my hat, up through my pom-pom. And then right down, back on through. I'll leave my little loop there. And the rest of this is going to pull right on through. Now I have my little loop. This is going to tie off. Trim that right on off there. Now we have a little loop at the top of our hat that can hang on our tree, on a hook, whatever they want to do. Make sure that's pushing in. And then I'm going to take a little cotton ball here, and it's going to help fill out my hat, and it's going to help with that bendy. So I've got my hot glue gun on. I'm going to put a good dab of glue on the inside of that. And this cotton ball is just going to go right down in there. Stuff it on in. Stuff it on in. And that fills out that ring very nicely. And there we have it. There's our hat. Now some people will just hang these little hats on their trees, which is super cute. You can do it like a joy, snow, let it snow, anything across those little hats. Super, super cute. But we are going to make and take this one step further. We are now going to take our same notepad. Let's move this out of the way. And we are going to take our big old ball of white yarn. Got it in a bag here to keep it clean. And I am going to now wrap my my Santa beard. Now, move my green yarn out of the way. Remind you that we've got what we have here. And we have our green one going on. And I want a nice full, now if I'm going to do, this is your more traditional where you're going to just kind of trim it up. And these are my long haired ones, more of my old world. And so I'm just going to wrap and get me a nice bunch of yarn on here. So depending on how big and fluffy you want this beard, because this is going to be, there's two sides here. What I'm doing is making this nice and full. Another one of my rubber bands is ready. Now since I started up here, I want to end up here. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it right on off. Set it aside. And I'm going to take this rubber band and I'm going to use it and go right around the center of this yarn. Now you can use a pom-pom maker if you have one. So I want that right around that center. And I'm going to now take a nice long piece of yarn and I'm going to tie it nice and tight. Now I do this, remember, because if that rubber band breaks, I want to have something on there that I know is going to hold it into place. Nice and tight. I'm going to wrap it again, and I'm going to tie it again. Now I wrap it like that to help the yarn from slipping, because sometimes, depending on what your yarn is made out of, it will slip if you're trying to tie a nice tight knot. So now I have this like yarn bow. And so I'm going to come right on in and I'm going to snip these ends. I'm going to stick my scissors on through and I'm going to cut these loops open. I'm just coming through and I'm pulling, making sure that all of my little loops are cut. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it right on over. Now I've got my little centerpiece right here. I can see it. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of making my little mustache, my little mustache area right there. So I'm not making this into a pom-pom. I am just fluffing out this little beard and trying to make like a little mustache with those top pieces. And making sure I'm coming down. I'm not going to do any trimming yet. And now I know I want to pull this down and hold it nice and tight, because this is now going to glue right on top here. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun. I'm going to put it all around the edge, of my hat, across the center. Now this is going to sit right there. I'm going to push it nice and tight on top. I know where my nose is going to go because I've got my mustache split open. Hold it until that glue cools. I'm going to pull it around here and I'm going to look at the back. Looks like I've got it nice and tight there. Fluff it out. And this looks like it might be better for my front. So I'm going to go ahead and comb this back down. It's nice and long. Go ahead and put some more glue back here. Let's get that pushed up on in there. So now let's pull it back around the other side. Let's go ahead and separate for our mustache again. Comb down. Put a little more glue in there and squish that on up. And that's right where our little mustache is going to go. And so I have these little brown little wood beads, and I'm going to make sure that the open ends are going to be on either side of where I'm putting it for the mustache. Right here at the top, right underneath the hat. Sit it right on in there and push it right on into your yarn. Now your yarn can come right on around. A little loopy there. And the rest of this, you are now just going to fluff and shape. Now, you can trim it nice and thick, nice and short for this. Leave it nice and long for this. Now this seems to be a little thinner than what I was doing with those. I should have wrapped it a few more times. Let's go ahead and get our stragglers trimmed. Comb it on out, using my fingers. There we go. And now I'm just going to come right on in and trim up any stragglers. And there we have it. Look at that cute little Santa, or gnome, whichever you want to use it for. It has its little hanging piece right on top there. I think I want to pull that up just a little bit. So what I want to do, because I want this to be a little higher there, I'm going to put some more glue right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to push it up from the center. Hold it right there as that glue cools just a bit. Too neat outside. Little jazzy waz. All right. Well, guys, this is your Christmas tree ornament, gnome, or Santa. I think they're more like little gnomes or old world Santas. I think they're just super cute. Alrighty, tell me in the comments below if you've made these before, or if this is something that you might make for your own tree. They're great to do with kids. Just let me know. And I will be continuing my Christmas in July series as I also get ready for my craft fair. Thank you all so much for joining me today, taking time out of your day to watch my video. If you've not subscribed to my channel, I hope you will consider doing so now by hitting that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I'm uploading new videos, hit that bell notification and YouTube should let you know when I'm uploading a new video. As always, guys, stay safe, God bless, and bye for now.